Military background basically gives me a reference point of an incredibly high pressure and high stress environment. And so the learnings from that I've been able to translate into private equity, venture, and their portfolio companies. And so I think it's good when people are looking at how can we build high performance teams, how can we get people to optimize their potential, they want to look at an example from the extreme. And so I've been able to sort of dilute that down to, okay, what works within the business world, what works within different types of teams and companies. And most importantly, I can talk from experience because I was one of those that was completely burnt out, not maximizing my potential, mental and physical health slipping, and I was in a leadership role. So now I get to help sort of translate that to these growth companies. Yeah, so one of the things that I learned working with all these different groups is that the problem I'm solving is not a military problem, it's not an athletic problem, it's not a business problem, it's a human problem, right? How does stress affect the mind, the body, the team cohesion, everything like that. So the way that I talk to a person in the military versus an athlete versus a CEO is actually really similar. And then all we do is try to tweak whatever we're helping them with for their personal environment. But humans operate in relatively similar ways. They're all businesses in their own right, and sort of cultures and lifestyles may vary slightly. The advice I'm constantly giving out is take a moment to slow down and analyze what's going on, right? We can't fix anything that we cannot see. So usually a lot of the people that I work with are go, 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 high pressure environment. If they're in a leadership position, they're protecting the people below them from the top and the other way around. And so they're under a ton of pressure. If we can stop and look inward, right? I was basically a professional of blocking everything that was going on inside of me out. So trying to understand thought patterns, trying to understand physical symptoms, trying to understand what's going on within their team to help them perform at the highest level. So some of the operational challenges is simply a frustration from a leadership team. Oftentimes they think differently from the employee base, and there's a gap missing, and they don't understand why people below them are maybe not understanding the way they understand or not moving as fast. And that creates a rift, and obviously a lot of the times things don't get done. So oftentimes what I'm doing is putting people that are integrators. If you think of it from a human operating system standpoint, the way somebody thinks, how can they understand the leadership team and everybody down to the lowest level? And we use psychological data to help us do that, and then go in and modify the team dynamics. And that usually takes a ton of pressure off the leadership team and a cohesive culture, and everything works better. So mindset and culture, if you think of a company as truly just a collective of people. So if there's a poor culture from the top, it trickles down, and that's where we have retention issues, productivity issues. We spend a ton more on healthcare, and we're really not maximizing the investment. So usually what I'm doing is working with a leadership team first. If they can prioritize themselves, their own well-being and their own potential, they'll start to understand how it works at every other level. And then usually we'll implement sort of programs to help managers develop themselves, leaders develop themselves, individual contributors to help optimize themselves as well. And when you have the culture start from the top of performance, then the rest of the company follows suit. And it's really the best way to maximize an investment potential. In the case of venture or private equity, I've been in multiple situations in health and defense tech where a founding team or a founder or a CEO has essentially had to take a leave of absence because they essentially were dealing with burnout on some sort of level. Didn't tell anybody, didn't acknowledge it to themselves, and then they leave and wonder if they can come back. Or the board is wondering, can we even allow them come back? Are they fit to handle the job? The reality is they were. Once we can help them modify their own well-being, they come back and realize, oh wow, this is happening to me, it's happening to the rest of my team. Oftentimes they had high leadership turnover, which really affects the bottom line of the company. So once the founder comes back in good shape and is embodying this new philosophy, they pass that on to the rest of their leadership team. The leadership team tends to stay. They tend to work harder for the people above them, and it trickles down throughout the rest of the company.